second gear. Whoa. Well, I don't know what that was, but there were sparks. Alright, so we got the old GT5000 back in the shop, as you can see, and I'm going to try to do something really simple. I'm going to try to do a direct pulley swap. I mean, in the most literal sense. I want to take the front pulley and make it work on the transaxle, and the transaxle work on the engine. So obviously that is going to involve some cutting and welding. We're going to have to try to cut out the centers, or drill out with a hole saw, something along those lines, the center hubs of the pulleys. And there is a reason why I'm doing it this way. Partially because, well, I don't feel like going and spending a whole bunch of money, obviously, on stuff that I might be able to make work, but it all comes down to our engine. This Kohler engine here, this Kohler Command V Twin, actually has a 1 1/8 crankshaft, and normally a lot of the engines, everything I have, is a 1-inch crank. Well, actually, it turns out that the engine is the least of our worries. I mean, you could buy a 1 1/8 pulley, but with the transaxle, I'm going to find out when I get this off that it actually has a 5/8 tapered shaft. It's not a regular 5/8 shaft that I'm used to on any of these transaxles. Again, I've never really messed with one of these H-pattern transaxles before, so let me know in the comments if you know of any pulleys available with this 5/8 tapered shaft, because I have not been able to find one in my searching, and frankly, the internet is the internet, so if I don't find it, you probably don't know about it either. But let's go ahead and keep on doing what we're going to do here, because, I mean, we pretty much have to do it the way I said now. Oh, no, wait, no, yeah, you're right. That breaker is in your way. Son of a bitch. And it is just a keyed, looks like just a keyed, possibly 5/8 shaft, just like all the other transmissions, so that's good. Where's that swing? I need to get this guy. Down, so close. Oh, no, who's that now? That'll be second bolt off. We're just gonna ship it. Come on! What's holding me on now? You bring plug! It's holding me on. Don't plug wherever it is. Okay, there's not there. There it is. Okay. Now, you get the whole transmission shift over. Actually, I need to get these out of here. Go ahead, this now. That's what I'm like. Oh, my! Freaking jack stand! I gotta go get it. What is it? Oh, wait, jack stand. I didn't There it is. All that just to get the frickin' pulley off. Alright, so one thing I noticed right when I got this pulley off there, that transaxle has a tapered shaft. So you can see how much smaller it is on that side than it is on this side. And you can actually see, yeah, see? You can clearly see it's tapered. And that's just like, it's tapered just like the top half of the crankshaft on the engine. And it is keyed, it does have a key, but I was hoping maybe I could just take one of my other extra 3-inch pulleys and throw it on here. Throw it on this trans. I don't think that's going to work, but I am going to see. I'm going to see if it'll fit. I think this is a 5/8. So I know I said I was going to cut the center of this out. We were going to do a direct swap, but of course I had to see if my 3-inch pulley was going to work. This 5/8 shaft keyed for the 3-inch pulley does not go on there. It's way bigger. It doesn't center. It's loose as hell. It goes on and it engages with the key, and it would, it does engage enough to turn it, but it's so much looser, and it's also this particular setup with this hub with the welded on pulley. It's way too wide, so I can't get the nut on there, which I was thinking, okay, I'll slide it on, I'll just put the set screws in, because I don't actually ever run a retaining clip with this on the other style transaxle when it's sitting on there like this. But yeah, I can't even make that work because it's just too floppy and will not go on there straight. So we are back to the other idea, which was to cut the center of this guy out and try to center it to another pulley. Being that the crankshaft on that engine is a 1 1/8, the pulley is not easily or readily available. I mean, yes, you can order one on Amazon. However, finding one that's about 9 inches in diameter with a 1 1/8 seems to be possibly impossible. So, Tractor Supply, they do have 1 1/8 bore pulleys, but I think the biggest I saw was 6 inches. And there's not one around me that has one in stock. So, in the name of getting it done, and getting it done for, well, free, because we're just swapping parts we have, I'm going to commit to this route here. Here we are. Alright, just so you know, I already know I kind of made a big mistake here. So, this is the same hole saw right here. Now, of course, it's pretty shoddy looking hole. But I actually should have taken and cut this guy out with the larger hole saw, which would have let me have a bigger flange on this. Because if I go and I cut this out with the same hole saw that I cut this out, well, the hole is going to be bigger. And I'm going to have to fill in that area with weld. Whereas if I would have done it with the larger hole saw, I'd have a flange and I could basically just drop it on there and use that flange to weld to the pulley. But we're going to have to do what we can with what we got now. So obviously I'm not going to be using that at all. Alright, so we got that drilled out. Drill overheated. I ran it over the AC inside. You know, whenever I'm doing something like this, trying to kind of just make what I have work and cut and weld, I just think to myself, how would they do this in Thailand? So, obviously, one thing they would have done is they would have used probably a different size hole saw, so that the hub would have flopped right into place. Of course, now we got all this space here. But I found this. This is a pull start cup. And it's not the thickest material, that's for sure. But I'm thinking I can just take the cutoff wheel and cut myself basically a washer, which will... the washer, minus all the rest of this material, will go there. The hole in that is big enough to allow the shaft to go through, and we'll be able to just drop that on, center it. So of course we'll weld the washer to the pulley, and we will weld the hub to the washer. Alright, we are welded up, and centered or not, we at least got some decent welds. So that'll work. Will it wobble all over the place and destroy the transmission? I hope not. Alright, we're about to start getting kind of wacky here. See how precise we can be with the cutoff wheel. Oh my god, it didn't fucking... The helmet didn't work. Alright, well, if I got anything from this project, it was welding practice. Did plenty of that. I mean, maybe I didn't need to go that crazy, but I figured if this thing's going to be on there spinning at 4,000 RPM, it should definitely be on there. Of course, it doesn't look pretty, but as long as it spins and doesn't cause any major vibrations or fly off there, I'll be happy with it. Alright, my people, let me show you what we have here. So it turns out we don't have to cut anything. Oh, you can't see anything in that lens. Alright, so we don't have to cut anything. Look at this. So, oh, this freaking belt is getting in my way. So this idler pulley, yeah, that idler pulley was bolted right there. Bolt, actually really long bolt, goes right up in the engine. It's also the engine mounting bolt. There's another one right there, look. This plate with the belt guards, the PTO thing, it all just bolts off of here. It's a totally separate plate that just comes off. So this is the first time I've actually really looked at it, so that's good. We can just unbolt that, remove it, get it out of the way, and the other pulley, the big pulley, should hopefully still fit. And of course we're just going to have to come up with a relocation for our idler pulley. And we are going to have to make belt guards, but like I said, I'm just going to try and run it without them first. I certainly have run into some issues. First problem is that with this angle being, you know, big pulley here, small pulley back there, the belt wanted to run into this. So my solution for that was I made a spacer out of a piece of pipe, and I spaced this pulley down pretty much as far as it could go, or, you know, there's basically to the end of the crank. Before there was, like, you know, that much crank still sticking off. It was pushed up a lot higher. No need for it. It still seems to be in line pretty well. Now we got this idler pulley, which was right about, you know, it was pretty much in that position. And I'm going to push on the belt a bit, and it's still going to be a straight shot right to that clutch. And I marked, you can see right here where I marked, I'm going to drill a hole, and we're going to bolt that idler pulley, and hopefully that's going to be, hopefully that'll work. Still, I'm not going to have any belt guards. We are going to have to make belt guards if we're going to really want this to work properly. Whenever you clutch, the belt's just going to come flying off. So, again, I'm probably just going to test it without them, but certainly going to end up having to make belt guards. Beautiful. Check that out. Now, my record on drilling holes exactly where they need to be is not that great. That could not have been any better. Alright, we got that idler in place. With a little bit of spacing and a little bit of bending, I got this guy where it needs to be. And same story on the back here. I just spaced out the original piece, the original guard that was here. I just had to cut this shorter a little bit, but that's not going to affect it. Alright, well, there's a couple things you didn't see that I didn't film. So I did end up testing it out with the original belt and no belt guards or anything. And of course the belt did fly off when I went to shift into third from second, going up the driveway. Hit a pothole, the belt came right off. So I did work out some belt guards. I struggled and tried figuring some belt guards out, I should say. And, well, ultimately, long story short, the original belt flew off, caught one of the belt guards, and basically destroyed itself. So I ended up having to go get another belt. So let's take a look at what I got set up here, and we'll throw the new belt on and see how this thing actually drives. A little belt guard on here, which worked out lovely. At first, I put a belt guard over here, basically the same thing that is, and that screwed me because for whatever reason, the belt did still come off, and it ripped itself going through that, or past it. So after a while, I kind of had it figured out to where, okay, when I clutch it, the belt's pushing off this side because it was no longer pushing off on this side, partly because of this, I think. But by that point, the belt was already pretty much broken in half, and it finally went. I don't know why, it just keeps... But anyway, that's that side of it. And of course, the belt's not on because it broke. Now, at the back, we got the what used to be the crank pulley, and it's, you know, you can kind of see my belt guard set up here, which goes up behind it and over top of it, and that seemed to work really well too. All right, I'm gonna go on record right now and just say I really don't like the way that machine is set up. Of course, they're fine for mowing the lawn and driving around at 3 miles an hour, but having that vertical shaft engine with a twisted belt spinning a horizontal shaft on the transaxle, definitely not an ideal setup when you want to change the pulley size drastically to go fast. If I was going to, I'll tell you what, I'd recommend if you wanted to do one of these setups with that type of transaxle, I would try to get your hands on a horizontal shaft engine. A lot of the older, some of the older opposed twins, you can find those in horizontal shaft. The V twins, those are definitely less common in a horizontal shaft. But I actually happen to have a really old, it's only a 16.5 horse opposed twin with a horizontal shaft, and I'm almost thinking about doing a swap to that engine just to make a simpler belt system. Now, it's not going to be a direct bolt on, it would still require an extra idler and everything to make that belt, like, probably have to clear things out of the way too. But anyway, I'm just going on long here talking about this because I don't give it too long before the belt's going to come flying off, burn up, something. I tested this thing with the original belt on it in this configuration, and it threw the belt off pretty quickly. That was with no belt guards at all. So now we got the belt guards, and we got a new belt on there. So I'll give it a, hopefully it'll have a little bit of time before the belt is trashed, but let's just see if it drives. I mean, I do know one thing, it's too fast. The ratio that I have now, which is, I forget what it is, I want to say it's like 2.2 to 1 or something like that. It's close to what I have on the other one, on the hot rod tractor, but with this transaxle, it's a way different gear ratios in this transaxle, so it's like first gear is pretty fast. Now, of course, you have low range. Low range is usable, but it's not as slow as I'd like it to be for low range. So let's drive it and see what happens. Why I keep dying, I don't know. So this is low range first gear. Not bad. Going to high. Alright, so we're definitely making progress. The only thing that happened there was the belt seems to have come off the clutch. The belt guards on that clutch are not really close at all. I think I either need to maybe see if they need to be adjusted or bent. There's a lot of room for the belt to flop away. But other than that, I mean, that's a huge improvement from the other night when I tried driving it on the old belt. The transmission's not that loud, which is, you can hear it, it's a little bit whiny, but not that loud. I only got it in second gear, by the way. And that was when I went up the driveway over there. I had shifted it into second gear and took off, and I think I clutched it to go to third, maybe. I don't even remember, and the belt came off. Right now, the belt's still on, hasn't come off again. So I'm going to try to get it maybe into third. I don't think I'm going to wring it out in second. I'm just going to get it up into third. But I was not even able to get it to full speed yet in second because it's kind of sketchy, and this driveway is a little bit sketchy. I think I might take it down in the grass down by the lake, down the hill here, to see if, I mean, it is a little bit bumpy down there, but we'll see what happens. My balls hurt for a little bit from going up that driveway, but I'll tell you what, it rides and it goes a lot smoother, way smoother than the hot rod tractor. Now most of that's probably the tires, because the hot rod tractor tires are like 6-ply trailer tires. They're really, really rock hard, even with like no air in them. I have a little bit less pressure in the rear than I would probably normally have because I wanted it to ride a little smoother, and if I went off-road or anything like that. So I can't believe how smooth it rides, actually. But it's very sketchy. And it's not sketchy because of the steering or anything like that. It's sketchy because I'm riding 3 feet off the ground on this thing. And I've never really had one of these machines that's just stock like this. Usually, my first one, the first thing I did, the hot rod tractor years ago when I got it, first thing I did was I took the bodywork off and I dropped the seat like 6 inches. So I'm not going to end up leaving this like this, most likely. Man, it freaking moves though. I can't tell if it's actually any faster than the hot rod tractor top speed wise because I can't really get it up to speed, but this transmission's pretty sick though. If you get it just right, you can slick it into the next gear without it grinding, and it'll shift down same way. It'll shift down from third to second, no problem. If you just throw off a little bit, it'll grind just a little bit. It seems like it's okay though. I'm going to take it down in the grass here, and then maybe we'll take it over in the woods. I'm a little bit nervous about going in the woods. I'm going to leave it in low range in the woods. I just don't want to have it like pop the belt off when I'm mid-hill or something. But I'm a little bit happier now than I was, because I was giving up on this whole project. But I was going to do a whole bunch more stuff to it in this video, but I ended up taking way too long to get this done. So let me know in the comments if you want to see more further modification of this machine, because I have a lot of other things I'd like to do. So let's continue having fun with it though. I hope you guys can tell how freaking quick it is. You know, as I'm sitting here editing it, I'm looking at it going, you know, this doesn't look fast at all. And it's partly probably because it feels faster than it is, I think, because like I said, I've never had one of these like in a completely stock chassis configuration where I'm sitting so high up on it. And I think that's why it feels fast, because it's kind of sketchy to drive. And I actually think now that I'm watching this, I think the hot rod tractor would probably smoke it in top gear. But either way, it has a lot of potential, and I'm really not even getting this engine revved out. I mean, in third gear, I still didn't get to the governor in third gear. And this engine's still barely revving maybe to 4,000 RPM. So there is definitely potential here. You know, you consider the hot rod tractor, I've revved that to 4,500, sometimes even 5,000 RPM. So it does have potential to be fast. The belt, this time the belt came off hitting a bump, third gear, top gear. And it actually caught, it like ran itself off as I was rolling. Because what happened was, as I was rolling, the whole belt kind of came off and went under the machine, which pulled it just past the belt guard on the transaxle. Doesn't look like too big of a deal. It's basically, just need to loosen the belt, or loosen the belt guard and get it back on there. I will say this, belt's not going to last long, which really sucks. I can see where it may be rubbing on one of the belt guards, but there's not a whole lot I can do about it, because it looks like if I was to move the belt guard it's rubbing on, it would probably just pull the belt right off the transaxle. So that's what I was talking about with these extreme angles. Like, it's kind of weird. You would think, okay, it has an extreme angle already. Stock, it goes from a 4-inch engine pulley and it twists to a big, whatever it is, 8.5-inch transaxle pulley. But the way that is, it's able to make that angle no problem. But when you make it opposite and you take the angle and you go small trans pulley, big engine pulley, it doesn't like it. It's hard for it. What it really needs is like maybe a 5-inch transmission pulley, and I think it would be a lot better as far as that problem goes. I can't really fit much bigger of an engine pulley on it, but a 5-inch transaxle pulley obviously wouldn't be as fast, but it might be better because it still needs to be a little slower, low range. I'd like to be able to pull stumps and pull logs out and shit. So let me see if I can get this back on, and then we might go up in here, see if we could still make it up the hill. Well, of course we're still going to be able to make it up the hill, but we'll see what we can do up the hill. So check it out. I figured I'd show you what the belt looks like after that small amount of driving. So look, this side is fine. And you can see where it's rubbing on that side. So I could probably address that issue. Like I said though, I don't know if I'm going to be able to address that and have the belt still stay on there. Obviously it's falling off, but I think it fell off on the clutch like it's been doing. So basically we got two issues, and I think I can fix both of them. Again, I still think this setup sucks for this kind of a pulley setup. But if I make the rear belt guard on the transmission that I think is rubbing this, if I change that a little bit, it's the original belt guard just kind of put closer. I think if I change that and then I address the belt guard situation on the clutch so it's not flying the belt off, we might actually have something here, because it's really not too bad. So yeah, let me get this on here and we'll take her up through there. Yeah, so it appears that this belt guard here, I think it's rubbing on. If we turn the engine a bit, of course it cut the belt when it came off, I think. But that angle is so extreme that I'm afraid without that there, it's going to just pull the belt right off that way. So I don't know. I don't know how I can address that really. I was thinking about maybe trying to put like another idler pulley, you know, over here or something. But that may or may not actually do anything. So whenever the chassis twisted, something started rubbing under there. I think it was the belt guard in the front maybe, but it's nothing. Let's take you on board. It's really sketchy. Like, the problem is now, these holes got worse. That one, maybe I could straddle is no problem. I could probably make it up that now in low range first. That last run was first gear high range, by the way, but this hole is huge. And it's really hard to come up from that angle and straddle it going this way. My back wheel keeps going into it. Damn it, there goes the belt. My belt guard came loose, and I realized part of the issue. Looks like probably when I steered really tight, the steering drag link probably hit it. So that's only going to happen again. I'm going to have to trim that, and then I'm going to have to, I also didn't put a lock nut on that belt guard, so a couple more issues. We'll just put them on the list, and we'll get those taken care of, and then it should be, well, it's never going to be dialed. It's always going to be a POS that throws belts, I can guarantee it. But we can take what we've learned here and kind of figure out what's next. Another issue with the belt, and I have this same issue on the hot rod tractor, is once you start using it, it immediately stretches out a little bit. It becomes looser. So I got an 83. I could probably end up getting like an 82, maybe 82 and a half, and I might be better off. And the same thing goes for the hot rod tractor. I can't find, at least they don't have at Tractor Supply 106 inch, but so I get 107 inch. I need 106, probably be better, but you know, that's what happens with these. They stretch the belt out from, I guess, from heating up. All right, we're in high range. We're gonna go down the hill in first gear. Seems kind of sketchy, but hopefully it'll be okay. Oh, trying to fight my glasses not falling off. So I ought to give you a little high-speed ride, right? Oh yeah, that didn't hurt, did it? Yeah, I should have had that a little tighter maybe. Well, let's go up the hill. It's not easy to keep this thing straight when I'm bouncing that bad. Alright, we'll put it in, I guess we'll put it in low range. Second gear. Whoa. Well, I don't know what that was, but there were sparks and the belt is no longer on. I'm guessing it probably just came off. Yeah, might as well put her in second. Something up. Smell belt. second gear and then we'll get to third. What? And the belt came off. All right, well, on that note, I'm pretty much giving up on this. I'm not giving up completely. I mean, I'm going to try to tidy up a couple of those issues. But if it keeps giving me trouble, I am going a different route altogether because, again, having the vertical shaft. Now, any of you guys in the comments, if you've done one of these like GT Craftsman's where it has the vertical shaft engine to a horizontal shaft transmission, let me know what I'm doing wrong here. Is it even possible to have such an extreme pulley setup? I just don't like it. I just don't like how it does that. It's good for slow speed, but it's not good for high speed. And yeah, I don't know, I'm just frustrated with it. It's fast. I definitely see the potential in this gearbox because I like the way it shifts on the fly. I like the really spread out gear ratios that it has, being only a 3-speed. It would be awesome on another classic race car type build. And I know you guys are like, oh, build something different, do this, do that, off-road machine. And I'm going to do different builds. I already have other ideas that I've been slacking on getting done. But I really am all about the kind of vintage racer machines. And I always really wanted one of these transaxles to go the next step with a vintage racer style build. So I might just do something with this and try to put a different engine on it. That's a horizontal shaft. Make it more of an off-road, do a few more things to it for off-road capability. And then might just try to get my hands on another one to part out for the gearbox. Because at the end of the day, I mean, these things aren't that expensive. And I got this one for free, so I'm already ahead of the game. But anyway, I don't know if that was entertaining or informative or any of that. Like, did you enjoy the video? Let me know. I didn't even really have that much fun with this one. I just kind of didn't really know where I was going with it because I didn't see the availability of the parts I wanted, but I also wanted to not spend money on it and do it for free, and it kind of just bit me every step of the way. So with that said, share this video, like this video, comment, tell me what I'm doing wrong, tell me if you liked it, and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And all you guys who are subscribed, who are here every weekend, I'm sorry I didn't post for like a week, but I really appreciate you guys subscribing and watching. And yeah, hopefully we can get into something a little bit more exciting next time. But I don't want to say that because you might be expecting that and it might not happen. So I'm going to try to at least make sure there's something next time. We don't know what it is though. So I'll see you guys hopefully next weekend, maybe even before. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.